So we've talked about Ryan Walters here on the channel. He's the superintendent out in Oklahoma that wants the 10 Commandments hung in every classroom. He wants teachers to teach from the Bible. He says it's part of American history and should be taught as such and should be taught right alongside of American history, and the teachers should be able to go in there and teach the Bible in school. Well, now he's facing impeachment because Republicans are coming together with Democrats because they're tired of his extremism. A lot of people are tired of this. They want the separation of church and state. They don't want someone else to have their interpretation of the Bible taught in class. And Ryan Walters is completely coming off the rails. These next couple of clips I've got to show you, they're absolutely hilarious because he's coming unhinged here and he's trying to do his best Trump impression, and it's so funny watching them try Trump's act on for size and fail miserably. But take a look at him and just, God, this is bad.
No, yeah, thank you for that. Since we launched our Bible initiative, that we're going to continue to make sure our kids understand the role the Bible played in American history and understand that, so many of our founders reference the Bible. Again, it's history. The left can be offended. They cannot like it, but they can't rewrite our history. The left has come at me. But the latest thing that they've done, again, I've been sued, a couple dozen times here. They're always suing me, trying to stop me that way, just like they do Steve Bannon and President Trump. But the latest is now we've got a Republican. He is a complete rhino union sellout. His name's Mark McBride, leading a charge to try to impeach me. And so they're trying to launch an investigation into me today. Again, what you see is what is typical of when the left cannot stop you in an election. When they can't steal it, when they can't advance their policy, when a conservative policy advances, they find the weakest Republicans out there, buy them off, and then engage in these type of attacks. We've never seen anything like it. This is unprecedented. I won. I mean, my elections were such a landslide. It was ridiculous. Crushed my opponents, and now they're trying to overturn the will of the people of Oklahoma. It's just outrageous.
He literally took every Trump quote he's ever heard and just wadded them all up into one big ball and tried to spit it back out. That's how bad that was. The left is coming after him. The left is trying to stop him. It's always the evil left is coming after him. No, maybe it's just reasonable people who are sick and tired of extremism. Maybe it's just reasonable people who doesn't want to see our country go down into such a radical rabbit hole. But man, this guy is just starting to cook. What he says next is so over. I'm laughing at it. I'm laughing at it because it's comical that someone could be this over the top ridiculous. But remember, they always can be. Take a look.
And your voters, your supporters, and parents love you and what you're doing in classrooms, but can you kind of walk us through, where you think this opposition is coming from for, again, policy proposals that are not fringe by any means?
Right. No, thank you for that. No, let me walk you through kind of how they do this. So first of all, what you see is even in red states, what the left does is they go and capture a few Republican politicians. They know that Democrats are a very small group here. So what they do is they capture certain Republicans in high leadership areas. So here they captured a guy named Mark McBride. He is the appropriations chair, and he does the bidding of the teachers union. I mean, he's pretty open about it. I mean, literally, they write his press releases, things like that. And so what he does is then he uses the cover of, but I'm a Republican. I'm just a Republican out here just looking out for the people. And you look at it, he fought me to keep pornography in school. I mean, think about how outrageous of a position that was. He wanted to keep genderqueer and flamer in our kids' schools. He fought me on school choice. He fought me when I said, look, we're not going to do 84 genders in our schools. We're just simply not going to do that. Fought me there, fought me on putting the Bible back in school. He wants to completely censor American history, take out American exceptionalism, take out the Bible. It's outrageous. But this is what they do. They take over an establishment Republican. They weaponize them against your conservative that's pushing the agenda for the American people. You see them do it all the time to President Trump. How many times was he stabbed in the back by a Republican sellout? It's similar tactics.
I absolutely love that. We capture a Republican. We go out there and we capture one. I guess we just get a rope and we get them over here and we make them say these things and we turn them against people like him. If he really thought we were that good and he really thought that we had the capability to do stuff like that, why ain't he voting Democrat? If you truly believe that we have that kind of power to go out and capture people, it's so over the top ridiculous. But of course he called them rhinos. Of course he called them traitors. Of course he called them sellouts. And then they wonder why people like us says that they're in a cult. Then they wonder why we call them out for that. Well, we call you out for that because we see that if anyone steps outside of the line of your leader, they're immediately labeled and they're immediately attacked. And that is one of the first signs of a cult. You can't leave the cult. You can't speak out against it. He's got this so backwards and so confused. Yeah, the Bible's a part of American history, and you can mention the Bible in a history class, but you can't start opening up and teaching from it, because when you do that, you're violating the separation of church and state. Now, for those of you that haven't saw my videos I've done in the past on Ryan Walters, I always bring this point because it's always the truth. We have the separation of church and state. You're free to believe the Bible however you want to. You're free to interpret the Bible however you want to, but you don't have a right to come into the classroom and teach your interpretation of it. And no one should really want that, not even Ryan Walters. Because what he doesn't realize is he could actually open up a big can of worms, because he could have a progressive Christian, he could have a very liberal Christian come in there and start teaching from the Bible, and I guarantee you he would start getting complaints. Or he would start calling for that teacher to be fired. Trust me, when he says he wants the Bible taught in school, he wants his interpretation of it. He wants Maga's interpretation of it. He wants to be able to use it as a weapon against people he hates and disagrees with. That's why he wants it in there. He doesn't want it in there for any of the right reasons. And these people who are coming together in a bipartisan effort to impeach him, they're not doing so because they were captured. They're doing so because they got common sense, they're reasonable people, and they see through this, and they understand what our country was truly founded on, and it was founded on the separation of church and state. No matter how many times they try to feed you this propaganda that we're a Christian nation on Christian principles, none of that's true. It's just their way of trying to stay in control. They're the ones that is desperate and grasping for straws. Whenever you have to go and say God is on our side, to me, you've lost the argument. Because if you have to go to a supernatural higher power that I'm not allowed to question with data and evidence and research, I'm not allowed to bring those things to the table. I just have to trust you that this invisible man in the sky told you what to say, and I'm supposed to trust you with it, Ryan Walters. No, that's not how it works. And yes, folks, for those of you that have been asking this question the entire video, I absolutely did wear this Jesse Gemstone shirt on purpose. If you've never saw The Righteous Gemstones, go out of your way to find it. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I love Danny McBride. I love every show he's ever done. Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals. He's the man. Okay, and he's probably the only minister I'm going to listen to these days, because at least I know it's just funny. At least I know it's entertainment, and I can get a good laugh out of it. And I know that it's not actually in my schools being taught to my kids. That's the difference. Believe what you want to believe. Believe in whatever you want to believe in. Have all the faith in the world that there's something on the other side of this if that's what you want to do. Just keep it out of the classroom and don't tell my kid about it, because that's between me and my kid, you know. You want to talk about grooming children? You want to talk about how the left does that? Ryan Walters is absolutely writing the book on how to groom kids. And he's doing it for all the wrong reasons. And so, yeah. I will be watching Jesse Gemstone all day long before I will ever entertain one word that comes out of Ryan Walters' mouth.